Hello, friends. Welcome back to another disturbing story filled with fame, manipulation, hidden secrets, and heartbreaking consequences. Today, we follow Rosa, a young influencer whose entire life is controlled by her mother, Dora. While millions of followers see a cheerful girl surrounded by toys, parties, and success, Rosa slowly realizes something terrifying. Everyone around her is growing older, but she is not. Strange medicines, secret injections, erased friendships, and staged birthdays begin revealing a horrifying truth about her childhood. The person Rosa trusted most may have been controlling not only her career, but her body and identity for profit. Stay with us until the end, because Rosa's search for the truth leads to a devastating discovery no one can forget. Right in front of us is a girl who seems trapped in time. Years pass, seasons change, and everyone around her gets older, but Rosa barely changes at all. At first glance, that sounds like some impossible gift, the kind of thing people spend fortunes chasing. But for Rosa, never growing older is not a miracle. It is the first clue that something has gone terribly wrong. Every familiar face around her keeps changing, while the face in her own mirror refuses to follow, and the answer is hidden inside the one relationship she has never thought to question: the bond between a daughter and her mother. Her classmates keep growing, moving forward, and entering completely new phases of life. Rosa, however, stays almost exactly the same. Even stranger, her mother controls nearly every part of her existence. Dora decides what Rosa wears, what she says, where she goes, and what she is allowed to do. Rosa has almost no control over her own life, and for years she accepts that reality without understanding how disturbing it really is. Everything begins to unravel when Rosa finally asks the question Dora has spent years trying to prevent. How old is she really? And why have all her childhood friends grown up while she still looks the same? That single question cracks open a secret Dora has buried for years, and once Rosa starts searching for answers, the truth becomes impossible to contain. What she discovers turns her entire life upside down and reveals that the person she trusted most has been hiding something horrifying from her. The story presents these events as something inspired by real-life exploitation. So to understand how Rosa reached this nightmare, we have to return to the beginning. Rosa is first introduced inside her bedroom, but the room looks less like a teenager's personal space and more like a professional content studio. Bright decorations, products, cameras, lights, and carefully arranged backgrounds make everything look cheerful enough for millions of young viewers. Yet there is almost nothing private about the space. Her bedroom is also her workplace, her set, and the stage where a large part of her childhood is packaged for strangers. Even before anything openly disturbing happens, the room quietly tells us how little separation exists between Rosa the person and Rosa the online brand Dora has built around her. She is already a massive social media influencer with millions of followers, and almost everything she posts is designed for children. Dora has converted the bedroom into a production set where Rosa opens packages, reacts to toys, and reviews colorful products for the camera. Dora controls the entire operation. She handles the filming, manages the channel, negotiates deals, and keeps access to every one of Rosa's social media accounts. Soon, Dora brings exciting news. The new channel has finally been monetized. A 2-year contract has been secured, and the first payment has already arrived. She promises Rosa that all this success will give her anything she wants, making the girl believe their hard work is finally paying off. They celebrate together, and Dora prepares an elaborate dinner while showering Rosa with praise and telling her how proud she is. Their private celebration is interrupted when the doorbell rings and the family's new neighbors arrive to introduce themselves. The visitors are a family of 3 who live in the same residential compound and have only recently realized Dora and Rosa moved in nearby. The parents are Vera and Bato, and their daughter Lana is around Rosa's apparent age. The second Lana recognizes Rosa. She becomes completely starstruck. Lana has watched Rosa online for a long time, so meeting her favorite influencer in person feels almost unbelievable. She immediately wants photos, stays close to Rosa, and asks to see the famous bedroom where so many of the videos are filmed. Rosa instinctively looks at Dora before agreeing, showing how even a simple decision like taking a new friend to her room requires her mother's approval. While the girls head away together, the adults sit down. Bato welcomes Dora warmly and explains that Vera helps manage the neighborhood and keeps track of the residents. Dora remains unusually quiet, forcing Vera to carry most of the conversation and making the atmosphere slightly uncomfortable. Vera becomes curious and starts asking personal questions about Dora's past, where she came from, and whether there is a husband somewhere in the picture. When Dora avoids answering at first, Vera assumes she must be divorced and almost instinctively becomes more protective around Bato. She even reaches for her husband's hand, as though silently reminding Dora that he belongs to her. Dora finally explains that there is no husband living with them and that it has always been just her and Rosa. In the other room, Lana notices something unexpected about Rosa. The energetic girl from the videos is much quieter in real life. Rosa barely speaks, and the silence makes Lana wonder why her online personality feels so different from the person sitting in front of her. Rosa gently breaks the awkwardness by giving Lana a small present, which instantly makes her new neighbor happy. The visit ends pleasantly, and Vera and Bato leave after assuring Dora that their family is nearby if she ever needs anything. The next morning, Rosa walks into breakfast carrying a box from a major toy company. The brand sent it because they expect her to review the products online. For Rosa, the package still feels exciting because she sees colorful toys arriving at her door for free. Dora sees only marketing strategy. She immediately reduces the gift to numbers, sales, and influence, teaching Rosa that almost nothing entering their home is meant simply for her enjoyment. Every package carries an obligation, every smile can become an advertisement, and even a child's excitement must be converted into content before she is allowed to enjoy it for herself. Rosa is genuinely excited, but Dora immediately strips away the magic by explaining that brands often send influencers products that are not selling well. In Dora's view, Rosa is not receiving gifts because companies adore her. She is being used to make unwanted products look desirable to millions of children. Rosa's disappointment is obvious. More than anything, she seems desperate to enjoy ordinary things without turning every moment into business. Dora quietly pressures her by suggesting they could cancel the contract if Rosa truly wants to stop, knowing exactly how guilty that suggestion will make her feel. Rosa eventually gives in and records the promotion anyway, performing for the camera exactly as her mother expects. Across the compound, Lana watches the new upload late at night because Rosa's channel has become part of her daily routine. Vera comes into the room and reminds her daughter that she has school the next morning and should already be asleep. Lana persuades her mother to watch for a moment and proudly shows off Rosa's enormous follower count and the attention every upload receives. Vera sees something very different. To her, running a channel at that scale looks exhausting and far too demanding for a child. Lana does not care about the pressure. She only sees fame, money, free products, and millions of people who seem to adore Rosa. After leaving Lana's room, Vera tells Bato that Rosa's online popularity must be generating a serious amount of income. Bato is confused by her sudden interest, but Vera starts connecting details. Dora claims to be an ordinary school teacher, yet she can afford to live in an expensive compound. To Vera, the numbers do not seem to add up unless Rosa's social media business is paying for their lifestyle. Bato sees no reason to investigate their neighbors and questions why any of this should matter to them. Vera insists that because she helps manage the residential community, she has a responsibility to know who moves in and what kind of people they are. Bato is irritated by her obsession and tells her to focus on actually managing the neighborhood instead of turning every new resident into a personal investigation. The following day is Rosa's first day at school, and the moment she enters the hallway, it feels like a celebrity has arrived on a red carpet. Students raise their phones, call her name, ask for selfies, and crowd around her because nearly everyone recognizes her from social media. In the middle of all that attention, Rosa suddenly sees Lana. Discovering that her new neighbor attends the same school instantly makes her feel less alone. For Rosa, that matters more than the fans. Despite having millions of followers, she has never really had normal friends of her own. Dora also gets a job at the same school, putting her physically close to Rosa even during the hours when most children would normally have independence from a parent. While Dora is busy introducing herself to staff, Lana messages Rosa and invites her to come over after school. But Dora has Rosa's accounts open on her own phone and sees the message before Rosa can privately decide what she wants to do. The invitation is rejected because Dora has already planned another recording session, and Rosa is once again forced to place content before friendship. That night, Dora begins preparing for Rosa's upcoming birthday and encourages her to start inviting friends. The suggestion hits Rosa harder than Dora expects because she suddenly has to admit that she does not really have anyone to invite. Rosa confesses how lonely fame has made her, especially after moving somewhere new where she barely knows anyone. Dora reassures her that things will improve, and together they start choosing details for the birthday celebration, including the cake. The next morning, Rosa selects a dress that finally feels appropriate for someone her age and hopes to wear it to the party. Dora immediately rejects it and replaces it with a much more childish princess-style dress, refusing to let Rosa choose even what she wears on her own birthday. When the party finally arrives, Rosa barely gets a chance to enjoy it before Dora turns the celebration into another workday and asks her to start filming for the followers. Decorations fill the apartment, guests arrive, music plays, and everything should belong to Rosa for a few hours. Instead, the camera becomes the most important guest in the room. Dora treats every reaction as usable footage and every moment as an opportunity to increase engagement. Rosa is surrounded by people celebrating her, yet she is still performing for people who are not even there, which makes the entire party feel less like a birthday and more like a live commercial built around her image. Rosa tries to refuse because she wants one birthday that belongs to her instead of the audience watching through a screen. Dora pretends to accept the decision, but then uses guilt as a weapon, reminding Rosa that millions of followers are eagerly waiting to see her birthday look. She frames the situation so cleverly that Rosa feels responsible for disappointing strangers she has never met. The pressure works. Rosa gives in, and Dora immediately takes advantage of the moment. Instead of letting her daughter relax, Dora spends the day directing poses, changing angles, and pushing Rosa to perform harder so the clips will spread farther online. As the views climb and the money starts coming in, Dora finally turns her attention to the invited guests from the school and the residential compound. Vera watches the production from a distance and quietly wonders whether she is attending a child's birthday party or a professional film shoot. Even Bato admits that Dora may have gone overboard, although he still believes the only thing that matters is whether the children are enjoying themselves. Rosa, however, is not truly enjoying anything. She is working through her own party while Lana excitedly live-streams the event and shows everyone that she is now friends with a famous influencer. For all the pressure surrounding her, Rosa still feels happy about one thing. For the first time in her life, she finally has people she can call friends. During the party, Dora notices Bato standing alone and offers to prepare a drink for him herself. She makes it with surprising confidence and precision, and Bato seems far more impressed by her than he probably should be. Meanwhile, Vera has quietly started inspecting Dora's apartment because her instincts keep telling her that something about this woman does not add up. She searches corners, looks around the kitchen, and lets her imagination run wild while completely missing the fact that her husband is outside becoming fascinated with Dora. Dora suddenly catches Vera in the kitchen and immediately realizes she was not simply looking for the bathroom. Vera covers herself by pretending she was admiring the apartment and then smoothly changes the subject to social media business. She explains that she is considering creating a channel for Lana and wants to know whether the investment could actually generate meaningful income. Because Dora manages Rosa's career, Vera presents her curiosity as nothing more than a request for professional advice. Dora confirms that she handles the sponsorships and advertising deals, but Vera is less interested in contracts than in where the money ultimately goes. She pushes toward the question of how much Rosa earns and how much of that income Dora controls personally. Dora immediately becomes suspicious. Vera's questions no longer sound friendly. They sound like an investigation into the way she and Rosa live. Dora ends the conversation, sends Vera back toward the party, and keeps the financial details to herself. Rosa then blows out the candles on what everyone believes is her 13th birthday, unaware that the number itself may be part of a much larger lie. Later that night, Dora brings Rosa a warm cup of milk and secretly mixes a small amount of medication into it. The scene is unsettling precisely because the routine looks so ordinary. A mother bringing warm milk before bed should represent comfort and safety, but Dora has turned that familiar gesture into part of a hidden medical ritual. Rosa drinks without suspicion because she has no reason to imagine danger coming from her own mother. Dora watches patiently, waiting until the medicine takes effect, showing that this is not an impulsive act. It is something practiced, controlled, and apparently repeated often enough to feel completely normal to her. She waits until Rosa finishes the drink and falls deeply asleep, then quietly injects something into her arm without waking her. The next day, Rosa is in gym class when she suddenly begins feeling weak and unusually exhausted. A simple hit from the ball is enough to send her collapsing to the floor, and the entire class panics as she loses consciousness. Rosa wakes in a hospital after the school doctor rushes her there, and Dora soon arrives looking like a frightened, devoted mother. The doctor explains that Rosa's blood pressure dropped and says tests were taken as a precaution to make sure nothing more serious is happening. Dora acts relieved and takes Rosa home, but that same night she repeats the familiar routine with the warm milk and medication. Before Rosa sleeps, Dora shows her old birthday photographs from when she was much younger. In those pictures, Rosa notices another girl named Zoe, a childhood friend who was supposedly born on exactly the same day and in the same year. The coincidence fascinates Rosa, and she naturally wonders what happened to Zoe and where she might be now. Dora quickly shuts the subject down, claiming that nobody knows where Zoe went and that the girl disappeared from their lives years ago. Once Rosa is asleep, Dora changes completely. She dresses up, leaves her daughter alone at home, and heads out for a night of partying. She spends the evening chasing excitement and attention, living the kind of carefree nightlife Rosa is never allowed to experience for herself. When Dora returns in the middle of the night, she wakes Rosa because rain is falling outside and she sees another opportunity for viral content. Rosa is exhausted and has school in only a few hours, but Dora drags her outside and makes her perform in the rain for the camera. The girl looks close to collapsing from fatigue, yet she keeps filming because resisting Dora has become almost impossible. The clip becomes another success online, but Rosa pays the price by going to school without having slept through the night. In the teacher's lounge, Dora's colleagues see the new video and praise how dramatic and professional it looks. One teacher becomes suspicious because the rain began very late and lasted until morning, making him wonder when Rosa could possibly have filmed it. Dora lies without hesitation, claiming that the rain was only a visual effect and that the video itself had been recorded under normal conditions. Elsewhere, the school doctor cannot reach Dora and therefore gives Rosa access to the medical test results herself. Rosa logs into the system using the provided credentials and discovers something deeply worrying. Her results show a severe hormonal imbalance along with signs of malnutrition, conditions she never knew she had. Rosa does not fully understand what the findings mean, but she knows enough to feel that something is wrong, so she decides not to tell Dora yet. Back at home, Dora continues filming her as if nothing happened, immediately piling more content obligations onto her daughter. Even after one shoot ends, Rosa is expected to create personalized responses for the first 30 followers who commented on the previous upload. Rosa reminds her mother that she still has homework due the next day and needs time for school. Dora dismisses academics as nearly useless compared with the money Rosa earns through YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Ironically, Dora then offers to complete the homework herself so Rosa can keep working on fan content. The gesture looks helpful on the surface, but it only proves that Dora values production more than Rosa's education or independence. The next day at school, Lana talks about an upcoming birthday and mentions a celebrity who happens to share the same date. Rosa remembers Zoe and explains that she once had a friend born not only on the same day, but also in the same month and the same year. Lana becomes curious and offers to search for Zoe online if Rosa can give her the name. Rosa admits she has not seen the girl since childhood and knows almost nothing about where she is now. Before the conversation can go further, Dora appears. She has already been monitoring Rosa's phone and has also overheard enough to know they are discussing Zoe. Dora immediately questions why Rosa is looking for her old friend, forcing Rosa to explain that she only wanted to reconnect with someone who once shared her birthday. Dora responds with another carefully designed lie. She claims she had already tried contacting Zoe as a surprise for Rosa's birthday. According to Dora, Zoe had completely forgotten Rosa, showed no interest in seeing her again, and refused the invitation. Rosa is deeply hurt by the story and abandons the idea of reaching out, exactly as Dora intended. The next day, Vera begins copying Dora's formula and starts filming Lana, hoping her own daughter might become profitable online as well. When Vera later spots Dora moving through the compound, she follows her toward the gym and immediately returns to the subject of influencer money. Vera explains that she wants to launch a similar channel for Lana and directly asks whether the business really earns as much as it appears to. Dora answers that success cannot simply be manufactured. The person in front of the camera needs talent, charm, and the ability to hold an audience. In other words, Dora insists that becoming an influencer is not something every parent can force onto a child. Vera responds with a pointed observation. Living in their expensive compound is not something every ordinary schoolteacher can afford either. Dora understands the hidden accusation and quickly claims that Rosa's earnings are being saved entirely for the girl's future, not spent for her own benefit. As the tension between the women grows, Rosa's online popularity continues exploding until her follower count reaches 15 million. Around the same time, the school doctor approaches Dora and asks whether she has reviewed Rosa's medical results. For the doctor, it is an ordinary follow-up question. For Dora, it is a threat. Her entire system depends on controlling what Rosa knows about her own body, and suddenly, medical information has reached the one person who was never supposed to see it first. Dora's tension reveals more than any confession could. She is not worried only about Rosa's health. She is worried about what the test results might help Rosa understand. From this point forward, every question Rosa asks becomes dangerous because knowledge itself is beginning to weaken Dora's control. Dora visibly panics when she learns that Rosa herself received access to those results instead of the information going directly to her. She immediately calls Rosa away from her friends and scolds her for not mentioning that she had already seen the report. Rosa claims she simply forgot, but Dora keeps pushing, desperate to know how much her daughter understands. Rosa mentions the health problems, and Dora quickly reframes them as something minor that has existed since childhood and can easily be treated. She assures Rosa that medication will fix everything, then returns that night to the same secret routine she has been using for years. Dora prepares the warm milk, waits for Rosa to sleep, injects her again, and then dresses up to go out while leaving her daughter alone. She intends to meet a man she knows online, but once she arrives, she unexpectedly sees Bato there instead. Dora joins him, and what begins as casual conversation slowly becomes much more personal. The two talk about escaping routine, leaving responsibilities behind, and wondering what life might feel like if they simply disappeared from everything familiar. Dora is surprised because Bato and Vera appear stable from the outside, so his dissatisfaction does not match the image he presents at home. Bato tries to make the conversation sound harmless by suggesting he is mostly talking about work and the pressure of everyday life. Dora recognizes the excuse immediately, and the awkward moment turns into shared understanding rather than embarrassment. Bato admits that he spends enormous energy pretending to be satisfied even though he feels trapped by the life he is living. Dora turns the same idea back toward him, wondering whether he would actually have the courage to abandon everything if the chance appeared. He cannot give a certain answer, but he knows he wants excitement, unpredictability, and something that makes him feel alive again. Dora realizes she feels exactly the same way, despite presenting herself as a confident woman who always has control. She admits that maintaining that image also requires constant effort, and that the person everyone sees is not necessarily the person she feels like inside. Their emotional conversation becomes intimate as Dora describes the loneliness of raising Rosa alone and the pressure she claims to have carried for years. Bato comforts her, and the boundary between sympathy and attraction disappears. Before long, he is betraying Vera with Dora. At that same time, Rosa wakes in the middle of the night because of a sharp pain in her arm and notices a strange lump beneath the skin. Frightened and confused, she uses a sharp object to open the area herself, determined to discover what is hidden inside her body. To her shock, a tiny object slides out, something narrow and hard that looks almost like a small implanted piece of technology. Rosa has no idea what it is or why it was inside her. Blood spreads across the area, but she hears Dora returning and immediately hides the evidence. She cleans herself as quickly as possible, gets back into bed, and pretends to be asleep before her mother can notice anything unusual. Meanwhile, Bato returns home late and finds Vera waiting for him, already suspicious and angry. He makes excuses about traffic and exhaustion, completely ignoring the fact that the night he chose to disappear was their anniversary. Vera is hurt that he did not even call, but Bato shuts the conversation down and walks away, while Lana overhears the argument from nearby. The next day, Rosa notices that Lana is upset. Lana admits that her parents have been fighting constantly and that the tension at home is getting worse. Rosa comforts her by pointing out that, despite the arguments, Lana at least knows her father and gets to see him. Rosa has never met her own father at all, a fact that now feels more important as other questions about her life begin piling up. She asks Lana for an old phone, pretending that her own device is broken because she needs a way to search privately without Dora monitoring everything. Lana agrees, but only after jokingly asking Rosa for a few social media mentions and story posts in return. Using the secret phone, Rosa begins researching implants, medical devices, and anything that might explain the object she removed from her arm. The information she finds makes her even more suspicious, but she quickly hides the phone whenever Dora comes close. Dora eventually announces that she is heading to Vera's place for a residential meeting, although Rosa has no idea that Bato is part of the real reason she wants to go. The moment Dora leaves, Rosa finally does what she has been thinking about for days. She searches for Zoe and sends her a message. Instead of acting distant or confused, Zoe responds with immediate excitement and remembers Rosa perfectly. That response alone proves Dora lied about Zoe forgetting her, and Rosa realizes her mother deliberately prevented the two girls from reconnecting. Zoe suggests meeting in person, giving Rosa a chance to find out what else Dora may have hidden. The next morning, Rosa pretends to feel too sick for school because she needs a way to leave the house without Dora following her. Dora initially offers to stay home as well, which would completely destroy Rosa's plan. Rosa convinces her that there is no reason to miss work because she only wants to sleep and is old enough to spend a few hours alone. Dora finally agrees and leaves, unaware that Rosa is waiting for the exact second she disappears. Rosa slips out and goes to meet Zoe, expecting to find someone who looks roughly the same age she does. Instead, she is stunned. Zoe looks several years older even though, according to the childhood story, they were born on the same day of the same month and year. At first, Rosa tries to explain the difference away, telling herself that some people simply mature faster or look older than their age. Then, Zoe casually reveals that she is preparing to start university, and the excuse instantly falls apart. Rosa is still living as a schoolgirl, while someone supposedly born on the exact same date is already entering college. Suddenly, every strange detail begins connecting. The medication, the injections, the hormonal imbalance, the hidden object in her arm, the constant moving. and Dora's obsession with keeping her childish. Memories that once seemed unrelated now fit together with terrifying precision. The princess dresses were not merely embarrassing choices. The repeated birthdays were not harmless celebrations. The isolation, the monitoring, the excuses, and the refusal to let her build lasting friendships all served the same purpose. Rosa realizes that her entire environment may have been designed to keep anyone from standing close enough, long enough, to notice that the famous little girl on the screen was not growing the way she should. Rosa becomes convinced that her mother has been interfering with her development for years so she can continue looking young and remain marketable as a child influencer. The realization destroys her. Rosa leaves Zoe and runs away, crying, barely able to process that the person she trusted most may have stolen years of her life. The betrayal feels unbearable because Dora was not simply controlling her career. Rosa now believes her own body and identity were manipulated for profit. She also understands why they kept moving from place to place. Staying too long would allow teachers, neighbors, or old friends to notice that Rosa never seemed to age normally. Rosa runs toward the school, determined to confront Dora, but she is so overwhelmed that she barely notices anything around her. Before she can reach safety, she collapses near the school, physically and emotionally exhausted. Dora finds her and immediately notices blood, a sign that Rosa's body is finally entering a stage of puberty that should have happened much earlier. Dora uses her jacket to cover Rosa and quickly takes her home before anyone else can understand what the bleeding may reveal. Once they are alone, Rosa finally explodes. She admits that she secretly met Zoe and knows that her childhood friend is about to start university. Rosa demands the truth, asking how two girls supposedly born on the same day could now be living at completely different ages and stages of life. Rosa is terrified of the answer, but she asks the question anyway. How old is she actually? Dora refuses to give her a number and instead starts defending everything she has done as sacrifice. Dora insists that every decision, every medication, every restriction, and every strange choice was supposedly made for Rosa's benefit. To Rosa, those excuses only sound like confirmation that her mother has been lying for years. Then another phone rings nearby, and Rosa discovers that Dora has been keeping a second device hidden from her. The discovery proves that her mother has entire parts of her life Rosa knows nothing about. Rosa threatens to expose everything publicly, but Dora responds by locking her inside the bedroom. She knows Rosa cannot reach the outside world if every door, account, and device remains under her control. Rosa screams, cries, pounds against the door, and begs to be released, but Dora simply walks away. Alone in the room, Rosa destroys furniture and decorations, tearing apart the fake childhood she has been forced to perform. Dora then takes Rosa's phone and contacts Zoe while pretending to be her daughter. She arranges a private meeting, determined to eliminate the one person who has started helping Rosa uncover the truth. When Dora meets Zoe, she wastes little time pretending to be friendly. She makes it clear that Zoe must stay away from Rosa and stop communicating with her. Zoe refuses to be intimidated at first, so Dora reveals that she has compromising information about her and threatens to expose it to Zoe's family if she continues interfering. The threat works. Zoe becomes quiet and walks away, while Dora returns home believing she has once again cut Rosa off from the person most capable of exposing her secret. Dora arrives with food, but even that becomes a tool of control. Rosa is told she will not eat until she cleans the room, changes her clothes, and agrees to film another video. Rosa has not eaten since the previous night, so hunger eventually forces her to obey. She tidies the room and prepares herself for the camera, even though she now hates everything the channel represents. Dora watches closely as Rosa performs, correcting her expression and demanding a more believable smile. A frightened, exhausted girl is expected to look cheerful enough to convince millions of viewers that everything is normal. When Rosa's performance is not convincing enough, Dora makes the threat brutally clear. If the video does not reach the same standard as before, Rosa can forget about getting food. Rosa records it again, this time following Dora's script perfectly. She explains the unfamiliar background by pretending she is staying at her father's house, even though she has never actually met him. The lie finally satisfies Dora. Rosa receives her meal only after proving that she can still generate content and protect the story her mother has constructed around them. The next day, Dora goes to the school principal and asks for Rosa to be excused for an entire week, claiming that the girl is visiting her father and needs time away. The principal initially feels that a full week is excessive, but Dora uses charm and emotional pressure until he reluctantly gives her permission. Lana later approaches Dora because she has not heard from Rosa in 2 days. Dora casually repeats the same explanation, saying Rosa has taken a break and gone to stay with her father. Lana returns the old phone she had lent Rosa. The moment she gets it back, she notices something strange. The conversation between Rosa and Zoe has been erased. Before Lana can decide what that means, Zoe sends a voice message intended for Rosa. Lana answers instead, introduces herself, and explains that Rosa has suddenly disappeared from school. Zoe immediately becomes concerned. She warns Lana that Rosa may be in trouble and explains that Dora's behavior has felt suspicious ever since their private meeting. Lana replays Rosa's newest video and focuses on the claim that she is staying with her father. That detail bothers her because Rosa previously admitted she had never seen her father in her entire life. Lana sends messages to Rosa's account. Replies eventually arrive, but the tone feels wrong, and the audience understands that Dora is the one secretly answering from behind the screen. The next morning, Dora enters Rosa's room with breakfast and discovers another escape attempt. Rosa has tried to create a way out using the room itself, but Dora catches her only seconds before she can get free. Dora drags her back, secures the room again, and tightens her control, making it even harder for Rosa to communicate with anyone outside. Lana contacts Zoe again and admits that the latest video did not feel natural. Rosa looked tense, rehearsed, and completely unlike herself. Lana also reveals the contradiction about the father. Zoe confirms that Rosa was telling the truth before. Throughout childhood, there was never a father living with them or visiting them. That confirmation convinces both girls that the new videos are part of a cover story. They decide to work together and discover where Rosa really is and why Dora is hiding her. Vera notices Lana's anxiety and asks what is happening. Lana only shares part of the story, explaining that Rosa has vanished after already fainting at school more than once. Lana hides some details, but Vera overhears enough of her conversation with Zoe to realize they suspect Rosa may actually be locked inside Dora's apartment. Then Lana sees something even more shocking. Bato comes out of Dora's home. In a single moment, she realizes her father has been secretly involved with the very woman they are investigating. The discovery gives Lana another reason to distrust Dora and also forces her to understand why her parents have been fighting so much at home. Inside the apartment, Dora sits outside Rosa's bedroom door one night while partially drunk and emotionally unstable. For once, some regret seems to break through her usual confidence. Rosa asks how a mother could repeatedly drug and inject her own daughter without fearing that something might go terribly wrong. Dora defends herself by claiming she always measured everything carefully and made sure Rosa never felt pain. In her mind, avoiding immediate pain somehow excuses years of manipulation. Rosa then asks another question that has haunted her for years. Who is her father? Dora finally admits that she does not know and never cared enough to find out. She gives Rosa a box filled with photographs from different childhood birthdays. The pictures show the same girl celebrating year after year, while Dora's secret system kept rewriting the age everyone was supposed to believe. Some years were apparently celebrated more than once, so people around them would not notice the impossible truth. Rosa realizes even her birthdays were carefully staged performances. She screams through the locked door, demanding her real age, but Dora still refuses to answer. The one fact Rosa needs most remains deliberately hidden from her. The next day, Vera acts on what she overheard. While Dora is away, she secretly enters the apartment and begins searching for evidence that Rosa is still inside. Vera hears Rosa crying for help behind a locked room and realizes the girl's suspicions were correct. But before she can reach Rosa, the security alarm suddenly activates. Vera has no choice but to run. Dora rushes back, and Vera pretends that some technical malfunction triggered the alarm while she happened to be nearby. Dora notices Vera's nervous behavior and immediately senses that something is wrong, even though she cannot yet prove Vera entered the apartment. Back with Rosa, Dora changes tactics. Instead of threats, she suddenly acts gentle and offers a deal. If Rosa cooperates with filming again, she can eventually return to school, see her friends, and get parts of her old life back. Rosa pretends to accept. She helps redesign the bedroom so future videos will support the lie that she is living temporarily at her father's house. Over the next 2 weeks, Rosa continues posting under Dora's supervision, but she begins using the only weapon still available to her, the videos themselves. Zoe watches every upload closely and eventually notices that certain visual details keep repeating in a deliberate pattern. Rosa is secretly placing the letters S, O, and S across separate videos. Once Zoe puts the clips together, the message is unmistakable. Rosa is sending a distress signal through content her mother believes she completely controls. Zoe shows the evidence to Lana and explains that Rosa has been asking millions of followers for help without being able to say the words directly. Lana is horrified and wants to contact the police immediately. But Zoe first chooses a strategy that can create enormous public pressure before Dora has time to erase everything. They launch a social media campaign using the hashtag #SaveRosa and begin posting the screenshots, patterns, and questions across every platform they can reach. The same internet Dora used to build Rosa into a profitable brand now begins turning against her. Followers who once watched toy reviews and birthday clips start examining old videos for clues. People compare dates, expressions, backgrounds, and inconsistencies. Teachers recognize details from school. Neighbors start remembering suspicious behavior. What had always been a one-way audience suddenly becomes a massive network of witnesses, and for the first time, Dora cannot completely control the story simply by controlling Rosa's phone. The campaign explodes almost instantly. Fans, teachers, neighbors, and strangers start reposting Rosa's images while speculation spreads about what may be happening behind the cheerful videos. The hashtag passes 13 million interactions, turning Rosa's disappearance from a private mystery into a public scandal that Dora can no longer ignore. When Dora finally sees the campaign, she becomes furious. She grabs Rosa by the hair and forces her back in front of the camera with another prepared statement. Rosa is made to tell her followers that she is safe, that people misunderstood the videos, that nobody is hurting her, and that Dora is the person who loves and protects her most. The forced denial works on Lana. She starts believing that she and Zoe may have overreacted and distances herself from Rosa, embarrassed by the campaign. Zoe refuses to accept the video because Rosa's fear is obvious to her. She keeps trying to convince Lana that the statement was rehearsed under pressure. When Lana still refuses to listen, Zoe realizes online speculation is no longer enough. She takes the final step and goes directly to the police. Zoe explains that she and Rosa grew up together and were said to have been born on the same day in the same year, making Rosa's claimed age impossible. She also explains that Rosa spent her entire childhood living only with Dora and never had contact with the father she is now supposedly visiting. Zoe shows the police how Rosa's behavior changed after their reunion, how she vanished from school, and how the recent videos make her appear trapped in a younger identity than her real age. Zoe says she believes Dora has been doing something medically or physically to prevent Rosa from developing normally, and the timing of Rosa's disappearance makes the suspicion impossible to dismiss. Police begin contacting witnesses and preparing to investigate. Dora learns that officers are coming and immediately starts packing, choosing escape over facing questions about what she has done. She abandons Rosa inside the apartment and runs away with Bato, who leaves Vera a note saying he is not coming back. Dora soon abandons Bato as well, boards a bus alone, and removes Rosa's accounts from her devices while fleeing. Vera and the police enter the apartment with residents gathered outside and discover Rosa unconscious after being locked away without enough food. She is rushed into an ambulance, but her body cannot survive the damage and deprivation she has suffered. Rosa dies before reaching the hospital. Months later, Dora appears somewhere else, pregnant again, and seemingly prepared to repeat the same cycle with another child. This time a son she can turn into another online product and source of income. The story closes on a disturbing warning about children being exploited by the very adults meant to protect them, showing how fame, money, and control can become more important to a parent than a child's health, freedom, identity, or life itself. The cruelest part is that Rosa spends nearly the entire story believing the person controlling her is also the person protecting her. Dora turns affection into leverage, care into surveillance, medicine into control, and fame into a cage that looks glamorous from the outside. That is why the final rescue comes too late to feel like a victory. By the time the door finally opens, years of physical neglect, isolation, and manipulation have already taken their toll. The followers who once celebrated Rosa's online life are left confronting what was hidden behind those polished videos. Her cheerful image was never proof that she was safe. It was part of the disguise. And Dora's decision to begin again with another child makes the ending even darker, because it shows that she learned nothing from Rosa's suffering and still sees motherhood as an opportunity to manufacture attention, control an identity, and turn a child's life into profit.